Alright, good morning, good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the show where I share my opinions on my books that I've read, and the audience, we pan to the audience and then they start pointing and laughing. So today's segment is books that I did not like in 2024. 2024 was a year of good reads for me, even great reads, dare I may say, as I mentioned in my last video, that train wreck. My favorite book of all time, I decided, was Six of Crows. I wouldn't have discovered that gem if it wasn't for the year 2024, so can we give it up for the year 2024? Now we're going to go into the books that I did not like. I actually DNF'd a lot of books last year. I want to say I DNF'd more books. No, that's probably not accurate, but I DNF a lot of books. I just don't like finishing things. Here's a point in case. I got this a few months ago. I literally love doing it. I would do it for hours on end every day. And then one day I just stopped, which that might be a topic for another day, but there's also a handful of books that I've read 70 or 80% the way through, but once I felt like they reached their happy end, I am just okay with not finishing it. I don't know why. Anyways, let's get into the books because I will go on some serious tangents. The first book talk book talk leads me astray sometimes, and I don't typically purchase or read a lot of the books that blow up on TikTok because of that reason, but sometimes I'll say, hey, you know what, the crowd likes it, I'm a part of the crowd, I want to feel what the crowd feels. So first book we're talking about is Bunny by Mona Awad. I actually don't have a lot of these books physically with me. I had a phase last year where I was just borrowing a bunch of books from Libby. It's a library app that I like to use for free library books. But yeah, I don't like reading on my phone, so that's why I haven't been using Libby very much recently. But I don't remember how I started talking about that. Bunny, it's supposed to be a cult-like sensation. It's about this girl, and there's this group of girls in her one class called the Bunnies, and she doesn't like the bunnies. Her and her friend make fun of the bunnies, and all of a sudden she gets invited to a bunny party one day, and let me just say, weird things ensue. Very weird, very odd things ensue at that party. And at that point I was like, okay, this is cool. But the problem for me was once she actually got accepted into the elusive group of the bunnies, I guess there's just sort of a plot twist in the book. I don't typically tend to like plot twists because that's part of the reason why I think that this book was a little overhyped for me, was because everyone's like, oh, there's something at the end, like it's gonna be crazy, and it just wasn't crazy for me. It was just regular for me. Also, the bunnies, I know that's probably the purpose of their characters, but they're so annoying, and I don't like how the main girl, I understand we're watching her kind of fall into their cult-like society and get swept away with it all and the magicalness of it all, but I don't like people who turn on their friends. So the main character, B-word, I don't like that, okay? I understand that this is a popular girl, or not even popular, she just wants to be not an outsider. I understand you wanted to be on the inside, but my thing is, like, why do you have to dump your homegirl? Like, what did she ever do to you? All she ever did was stick by you, and now you're like, psh, bye, I'm gonna go hang out with these bees. Didn't like it. Also, her friend was annoying too. All the characters in this book were annoying. I didn't like the main character because I don't like girls, or not even girls, just people. Like, if you can't stand up, like, I need you to stand up. I don't know. I just don't like indecisive people who can be pushed one way and then pushed the other way. It's like Alexander Hamilton said in Hamilton the Musical, because I did used to be a very big theater nerd, if you stand for nothing, Burr, what will you fall for? And that's how I felt about the main character in this book. That's how I also kind of felt about the main character in this book. This was another book. I DNF'd this book. I didn't finish. It's 575 pages long, I want to say, and I got to page 400. And the text is extremely small. And maybe it's not small, maybe it's just my eyes turning grandma, but it felt small to me. And that's all that matters. It made me feel like I was reading this little copy of the Bible my grandma got me when I was 5. And she was like, Madison, why don't you read your Bible? I'm like, Grammy, the words are this big and I can barely read. Anywho, this book, there was so much hype on this book. I I definitely felt more hyped about the Bunny by Mona Awad, but I've never read a dark academia, I suppose, and so this is my first dark academia, and I was so freaking excited. And don't get me wrong, it's so good in the beginning, at least in my opinion. The beginning, mwah. It's about this guy named Richard, and he goes to this college. He's kind of on the, he's not poor, but he's not on the more well-off side, and he's in this, I want to say it's a philosophy class with these 5 other people, maybe 4 other people. No, it's 5 or 4. Anyways, he's in a class with them. They're in like some sort of kind of same situation like Bunny. They're like in some sort of group where they're all in and he's not in, and he wants to be in, but they also have more money than him. So that's another kind of difference. I think they were a little bit more well off than he was, and he's like, I don't want to be an outsider. I want to be in the group. The book starts off with, we find out that one of the main characters is going to get murdered by the group of friends because they can't stand him, and that's all well and good. I like the book up, and the murder happens like halfway through the book, and up until then I really enjoyed it. It was an interesting book, like reaching up to when they kill him, like why they did, how it was like brewing, just seeing the character who gets killed getting on everyone else's nerves, not knowing that they all despise him. It was great. The writing in this book is so beautiful. It is amazing. I remember I read the first 50 pages and I was like, wow, this is gonna be a 5-star read for me. It's just, the way she writes is so entrancing. It's I don't know, it's definitely a cozy up in your jammies and your comfy socks, and get under a blanket and read this in 20-degree weather. Look how it is outside. But I'm gonna read Crooked Kingdom after I'm done filming this video. But the problem is, after we get to the halfway point, it's kind of just like, we're supposed to watch the characters descend into madness, dealing with the realization of what they just did, how they actually just took someone's life. My thing was, I kind of feel like from that point onward, the characters kind of just get stuck in this lull of doing nothing, of just, I guess the descending into madness was making me descend into madness because the plot was not moving whatsoever. It's kind of just like, once you get to that halfway point when the character gets murdered, we're just stuck in this loop of the characters drinking and smoking and partying and talking about what they did, and drinking and smoking and partying and talking about what they did. It's after 200 pages or after 150 pages, I don't remember how many it was, after that many pages of just sitting and listening to them talk about drinking and smoking, I was like, okay, what's next move? It was just moving so slow. And I understand it's lit fic. I don't tend to like literary fiction too much because I do like a plot more so than the characters, but after that point I was like, I gotta clock out. I gotta go home. I can't do this. I definitely will attempt to read this book again this year, because maybe I wasn't mature. Maybe I wasn't mature enough when I was reading it, but I don't know. It just got really boring, and I need a book that it's very quick. So next book that I didn't finish reading that book, by the way. I think I already said that, but just in case I didn't. Next book that I rated poorly and I didn't like at all. But okay, so when I say I didn't like it because the book was trash. But it's kind of like how I don't actually like watching Love is Blind and I don't actually like watching The Ultimatum, but I watch them because I like watching trash. So this book was a book that I felt was trash. I did finish it all the way through. I did rate it 1 star, and I do want to read the sequel. I just liked how bad it was. I liked how laughably bad it was. If you like this book, I'm sorry why I didn't like it. It's my first billionaire romance, and maybe not every billionaire romance is like this, but this one, the characters were just so incredibly shallow. I don't even remember their names. The main character was a girl, and I want to say she worked at Disneyland. No, I'm sorry. No, I think the company's name is called Dreamland. I think she's an employee at this company called Dreamland, which is clearly not in any sort of affiliation with Disneyland whatsoever. But she's like just a worker. I don't know what she does, but her dream is to become one of the creators who either create the rides or they create the environment or the aesthetic for the park. So right now she's just doing like minimum wage work, but she wants to be a little bit higher and have that creator position. So the person who heads the company or is fighting to head the company with his brothers, I don't remember, some sort of like big boss CEO, the grandson of the creator of Dreamland, he is the main love interest, and boy, I hated him. I actually hated both of them. The characters seem very one-dimensional and shallow. She's just the epitome of sunshine and naivety, and he is just sadness. Not even sadness, he's more like grumpiness. He's kind of an asshole. The one thing that got me going the most was how at the beginning of the book he's like, I don't care, like, not actually, I'm just gonna do a bit. I don't remember what he said word for word, don't come for me, but he's like, I don't care that these people have families, it's not in the budget. He's like, if I want to inherit this company when I'm older, I need to be cutthroat and ruthless, and we need more money going towards the park and not going towards our employees and their stupid little families. Like, why would I care about these little ants beneath me? That's the entire attitude that he has throughout almost the entire book. And at the obviously at the end, she's like, you really don't care about people like me? People like me, we don't even have goddamn health care. And he's like, wow, well, when you put it that way, I didn't realize that you, the object of my attention, I didn't realize that you were one of those little ants down there. Well, of course I have to give everyone health care now, and of course I have to give them benefits. And she's like, yay. And I was just like, girl, stand up. Come on, this man only cares because you are the little worker who he's screwing over. And then she got a raise to creator. I don't remember how she got the raise. I don't think it was through him. I think it was, I don't remember. But this book was built off of BS and hopes and dreams. And I don't know. It wasn't for me. But I definitely will be reading the second book. What can I say? I'm only human. I have my flaws as well. Okay, so those are all the books that I actually had on me. The next ones are coming off my noggin. Frieda McFadden. I don't think I like her. I read The Housemaid, didn't like it. Book, but I said, hey, maybe it was just that book. Because she's just pumping and pumping and pumping out. Like, Frieda, you get your bag, girl. I might not like the way you write, but you get your fucking bag, okay? Because it's like she comes out with a new book every 6 months. I swear she just popped up on the scene, and now it's like she already has like 15 plus books out in the same kind of like style or whatever. The Teacher by Frieda McFadden. Did not like it. Did not like it at all. The characters, one-dimensional. That's one thing I don't like about books. I don't like characters who are one-dimensional, who are lacking any depth. I didn't like the characters. The way the writing was very juvenile, in my opinion. It kind of felt like we were being shown a lot and we were being told a lot versus being shown a lot. It follows these two teachers. I don't remember their names, but they're married. They're the main characters. And then this girl named Adeline Severson. She had a thing with a teacher last year where the teacher was accused of, they were accused of being in a relationship. They really weren't. She was just creeping on his property because she's got problems at home. But that starts off the book. Everyone's like, oh, Addie, she's the weird girl. And she is a weird girl. Addie, she is not okay. You need to get therapy, girl. You need to get something. Like, I don't like how she just kind of got away scot-free at the end. That girl is psycho. Anyways, is that a spoiler? I hope that's not a spoiler. But let me say, I didn't like her ending. I didn't like Addie. I didn't like the main teacher girl either. But out of all three of the main characters, the teacher, her husband, and Addie, the teacher, the woman teacher, she was my favorite. Well, she wasn't my favorite, but she was the least insufferable, is what I'll say. Just, I don't know. The book is about Addie, and then Addie didn't learn her lesson. Addie didn't have any romantic feelings for that teacher who she got caught in the quote-unquote entanglement with. Like I said, they weren't ever doing anything actually inappropriate. She was just a creep and was creeping on his property, and that's why the rumors started coming out. But she didn't learn her lesson. Literally, the book starts at the beginning. She's like, it's going to be a new year for me. It's going to be a new start. She's super depressed about what happened last year because everyone knows about it, and it's obviously not true, but wants to just stay under the radar this year. And by staying under the radar, she falls victim to the other teacher. His name is Nate, I believe. She falls victim to Nate. Nate's a pedophile. That's a big part of the book. Nate's a pedophile. He's going after Addie. Addie is falling for his charm, which how, I don't know. I'm just glad it wasn't an Arya and Ezra situation from Pretty Little Liars. That was effed. But yeah, Addie just really likes Nate. She's kind of obsessed with him. I understand she's vulnerable and suspect to falling into that kind of trap. Do you mind? But I didn't like the book. I didn't like the book at all. I didn't like how Addie, I understand that she's a naive and vulnerable character, but I don't like how she just did whatever Nate told her to. Like, Nate was obviously a manipulative psycho, and she was just like, okay, Nate, sure, Nate. She just would not listen to reason. It was like she was completely infatuated with him, and she was ready to do whatever the F this guy told her to, and that really bothered me. And then, surprise, not surprise, when she finds out that he is a manipulative liar and a psycho, he turns on her. And then I'm just like, well, girl, this could have all been avoided. Okay, I'm gonna go on to my next book. Next book that I didn't like, it's actually 2 books from the same series, the Powerless series. Powerless was one of those books where, and I like dystopian books. I just feel like dystopian, romantasy, whatever, sometimes whenever you market something as being 2 different genres, I feel like sometimes it really is just romance with a little sprinkle of whatever the second genre is. And that's how Powerless felt to me. I've heard one common complaint from a lot of people is that they think that it's kind of just a ripoff of the Hunger Games and then the Red Queen. I think that's the name of the series. I've never read the Red Queen, and I've only read the Mockingjay from the Hunger Games, because when the Mockingjay was coming out, I just simply could not wait for the movie to come out. So I just read the book. It was really good. I should read it again. I actually have the series on my bookshelf. But yeah, I can definitely understand how they think it's a ripoff of the Hunger Games. And then it's by Lauren Roberts, by the way. And I looked up a brief synopsis of the Red Queen. Definitely understand how people would feel that way. This was an insta love story for me. It's about Paden and Kai. And Paden is this ordinary in a world of elites who have powers. The ordinaries are kind of like scum at the bottom of the elite's shoes because they don't have any powers, and apparently the elites just even being in close proximity to the ordinaries means that they're going to lose their powers are going to weaken. So like I said, she's just scum on the bottom of the elite's shoes. Insta love. So she runs into Kai. I don't remember what they were doing. She was thieving, and she runs into Kai. She thieves him. She runs off, and he's like, hey, I like that girl. That girl who just robbed me, I like her. She's different. So yeah, it already starts off where they're just instantly attracted to each other. I hate it, especially if we're supposed to be enemies to lovers. Like, take a note from Jude and Carden from The Cruel Prince. We barely got crumbs of them in the first book. They were truly enemies. I mean, Jude actually wanted to kill Carden. And I'm not saying that Paden didn't want to kill Kai. I'm sure she claims she did, but we all really know that deep down she just wanted to take him somewhere nice and do the do. But I don't know, the characters, shallow, one-dimensional, no depth, didn't like it. It felt like it felt like a fan fiction that I would write for characters that I really enjoyed. And no hate to anyone who liked this book. No hate to Lauren Roberts. I mean, you published a book. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here critiquing it because I can. But I didn't like it. And Reckless was even worse. Oh my goodness. At least there was stuff happening in Powerless. Reckless, it kind of just feels like Paden and Kai are just playing a game with each other the entire book. Nothing happens. It's like they're in the desert for the entire book, just being in the desert, just running away from each other, just chasing each other. The second book, at least I gave the first book 2 stars because it kind of had somewhat of a plot and there was like at least something going on. But in Reckless, there was literally nothing going on. So that was a 1 star for me. There's probably some other elements and some other characters that I'm forgetting about from the first book, but that's the main reason why I didn't like it. I didn't like how fast they were attracted to each other. Another thing, Kai is supposed to be this kind of like brooding, he's kind of supposed to be the monster of the book, a dark guy. He instantly, Paden instantly hits his sweet, soft marshmallow spot, and he's protecting her. Like, the only reason that she was able to get so far in the trials, I mean, she's the main character. Obviously, she's not going to die during the trials. I feel like that's not a spoiler. But the reason why she's able to make it so far and be so successful without any powers is because Kai was low-key protecting her through the entire time. And they're like, oh, I hate you. I hate you. It's like, what do you even know about this girl? You knew her for 3 days and you're already in love. And don't get me started on the love triangle, because Kai is a prince and his brother's a prince as well. His brother's the prince who's actually going to end up becoming the king. Of course, he's head over heels for Paden as well. Didn't like it. Another book that I didn't like, but I DNF'd this book probably like 25% of the way through, was the Inheritance Games. Another case of I was so hyped up for it. I heard so many good things about it, and then once I actually opened the book, so flat. It ended up falling so flat for me. It's about this girl, I believe her name is Avery. She is helping these brothers. Their grandpa liked to play games, I think. He liked to play games, he liked to do puzzles and tricks, and he ends up dying, and I think to get their inheritance they have to play games for it. I love games, I love puzzles, I love using my brain, I love having to figure things out and think. Escape Room it's not a good movie, but I actually really enjoy watching it. It's so good. I love games where people have to do puzzles. I love puzzles, period. When I was reading it, I got 25% way through the book before I DNF'd it, and it was just like, where are the puzzles at? Where's the mystery at? Where's the intrigue at? It kind of just felt like I don't even know what was happening. Maybe I didn't get far enough into the book, but I was promised puzzles. I felt like it didn't deliver on the puzzles, especially that book is wildly popular. I think it has at least 1 million ratings on Goodreads. That's how popular it is. I also didn't like the main character, Avery. I didn't like any of the main characters. They were all kind of really annoying. And then already off the bat, there's 2 obvious love interests. I think there's supposed to be something that differentiates the 2 of them, but they kind of just give off the exact same vibe, as in like mysterious, quiet, brooding, grumpy guy. And I mean, both are like kind of identical copies of each other, but they're supposed to be different. And I think she can't choose between them, or she's stuck between them. Maybe I didn't get to the part of the book where she does end up developing chemistry with one brother more than the other, but they kind of just sent like carbon copies to me. And the main character was annoying, too naive. One thing that really bothered me during the book, I know it's YA, but instead of cursing they would use like substitute words, and I'm not talking about like dang or darn or frick. There's one specific instance where she was talking with her best friend, and she was like, mother faxer. And it's just like, I know it's a YA book, but do we even really have to include cursing like at all? Like, I feel like it would have been better if we just left it out. And I'm not just nitpicking it. It wasn't that one instance where they substituted curse words. It was a reoccurring theme throughout the book, and it bothered me. I didn't like it. 2 more books that I didn't like that I also DNF'd: Legends and Lattes. It was such a cute book. It made me feel like I was watching a coffee simulator. It felt like I was watching the characters like make their own little treats and do their own little cute things. It was so cute at the beginning. It's about this retired adventurer who wants to settle down and start a little coffee shop in a town where no one knows what coffee is. It's very magical. Like, the main character's an orc, so her name is Viv. So it's not set up with humans. I don't think it is. I don't remember. All these books, I don't really remember too well. I read them at the beginning of the year or even a couple months ago, but my memory, blah. It was so cute and it was so cozy, but it was just like, after a while, I was like, okay, it's cute, it's cozy, it's cute, it's cozy, but what now? What are we doing next? It's like, the book is kind of just like, it's Viv, this other orc girl, and then this little rat guy. I think his name is Thimble. And basically the book is just Thimble making a new treat, and then Viv and the other girl try the treat, and then like, oh my god, this treat is so good, let's put this treat on the menu. And then it's just like that over and over and over. I don't like books where I feel like I'm stuck in a cycle where the plot isn't moving. So that was one of those books. It was so cute, so cozy, so comfy. But after a while, it was like, okay, is this all we are? Is this all we are is cute and comfy? I'm sure other stuff arises later on in the book, but I didn't stick around for that. Last book that I am going to talk about is Assistant to the Villain. Like I said multiple times earlier, this book was one that I heard a lot about on TikTok, and I like enemies to lovers. I like Grumpy Sunshine, and I feel like this was a book that sometimes books just hit those TikTok buzzwords. That's how I feel about Powerless. Powerless was one of those for me, and then this book especially, just those TikTok buzzwords of tropes. I DNF'd this book probably 25% of the way through because the main character, all she was is sunshine. The main character, all he was is grumpy, except not around her. He's literally a horrible person. He conquers people, I think. He kills people, and she's a good person. She wants to work for him, and it's like, girl, he's a literal villain. Why are you working for him if you oppose everything that he stands for? I don't like that. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh my God, you're horrible. It's awful, but I'm gonna still file your papers. And then for you, Mr. Villain, sir, if you're truly a villain, why is it's an instant love story. It's instant love. His heart instantly starts melting for her. Not saying that it explicitly says that his heart starts melting for her, but she instantly gets special treatment. He's instantly like nice-ish to her for by his standards. And it's just like if she was a man, you already know you would have killed him or done whatever a villain does to him first day of work. But because she's a girl, because you think she's cute, you're going to give her a soft spot and not be a true villain. Come on, guys. Stand up. You stand up for your sunshine values and you stand up for your villain values. And let's actually act like what we are supposed to be. So those are all the books that, well, those weren't all the books that I DNF'd. Those were the ones that I wanted to share. And then those were all the books that I didn't like, that I gave 1 or 2 stars. Most books that I read, I give 3 stars because I'm pretty easy to please. But if you all like this video, like and subscribe so I can throw more bookish content your way. All right, bye.